This is Mikey.
And I'm Garrison Rifen. This is Cinema Debrief. Welcome to Cinema Debrief. I'm Garrison Rifen, over here with my co-host Mikey. How are you doing tonight, Mike?
What is up, Garrison? We have made it to the week of week 0. We are finally there for college football to start. Yes, I know we're a movie podcast, but I've got a confession to make, and I'm gonna do this confession by running a scenario by you. And I didn't even tell you that I was going to do this before because I wanted your authentic answer. I'm going to run a scenario by you, and I want you to give me an authentic answer. Pretend that you've got 2 teams on the football field.
Okay.
One team is college football, and one team is movies.
Oh, okay.
You're at 4th and inches. Movies is like ahead by 6, let's say. So, in other words, college football has to go for the touchdown. Who do you want to win and who do you want to lose in that scenario?
Are you asking me which one I love more?
I'll tell you which one I'll give you. I'll let you think about it. I'll tell you which one I want to win. I always, in 100% of the scenarios, would want college football to win. Ooh, did that surprise you?
That does surprise me a little bit. I was going to say college football too.
Yeah, I want college foot. Look, this time of year, college football always trumps movies for me. I'm going to admit it, and I have no problem admitting it on my movie podcast that I do weekly and talk about movies all year long. But when it comes to college football and movies, and really, like if the scenario were college football and NFL, I would go NFL. Like I'm more of an NFL guy than a college football guy. You know that about me already. But like when it comes to football, so I have to be very strategic from here until the end of the season of how and when I'm going to see movies, because if a college football game is on, I kind of want to be watching it. I mean, that's kind of like where I am. So I don't know. There's some movie fans out there that are just aghast at my answer. But look, I have to be true to myself. And being true to myself means college football is going to trump movies. And unfortunately, sometimes that means like Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays. And then with NFL, you've got Thursdays, Sundays, sometimes a Saturday here and there. I mean, it's ridiculous. And of course, Mondays. But, you know, behind the scenes, you and I were trying to figure out, like, when are we going to, like, record this podcast? Because once football season starts, I mean, it's a priority for me.
Yeah.
And so we landed on Mondays. So that is going to shift, like, our schedule a little bit to maybe releasing on Tuesdays instead of Mondays. But I think that that's fair to give the listener a little bit more time. Maybe they want to go to the movies on a Monday night if they're not an NFL person, and they can watch the new movie that is our focus on the Monday night. That way they didn't have to miss any like college football stuff over the weekend. They can see the movie on Monday. We'll talk about it on Tuesday, and we'll still be just as irrelevant or relevant as we are now. So, speaking of, I'm very much looking forward to Mr. Irrelevant coming this Christmas to a theater near you. But
absolutely.
Look, I mean,
I totally get it. I was thinking that even this weekend. I knew we had shifted already, but I was just starting to think, like, man, when do we get these in? 'Cause I call high school football games on Fridays. I got college football on Saturdays. Now, to be fair, as much as I love college football, I love Florida State specifically. Well, and the only thing I don't want to miss is Florida State. And if I can miss anything else to go see a movie, I will do that.
Yeah, that's me too. Like, I don't want to miss an Oregon game when it comes to college, or a Dallas game when it comes to NFL. So yeah, I mean, I get it. I mean, and as far as like Dallas on a Monday night, they're only playing like a couple times this season on a Monday night, and we can always like start the game at halftime or something. Because I'm not one of those. I love football, but I'm not one of those weirdos that records the game and doesn't want to be spoiled on it.
Oh man,
and wants to start.
Don't say that too loud.
I'm saying it loud and proud. I mean, it's I just don't. I don't get
that's
this.
My dad. I can't. I have to go watch it live.
Yeah, I'm a live person. I don't care even if I miss like the first half. I'm fine with just watching the second half.
Yeah, I mean, and I'll go back and watch some of it or all of it, depending on how much I want to go back and watch it. But
exactly, yeah, I don't the whole live sports thing. It must be live for me. I do not like to record games. But anyways, let's get down to business. We're here to talk about movies. We had some records, more box office records broken this past week.
Yeah, you have Obsession hit 500 million worldwide this weekend. It's pretty much practically dead domestically at this point, but that's fine. I mean, it's had a long run.
Yes,
especially for what it was originally supposed to have, which was a 17-day window, then got expanded to 45. And even after the 45, it continued to play in theaters. Even after it was on PVOD and even after it was on home video.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just been a fantastic run for it. It's starting to open in other markets now, and it's starting to do really well because, look, America does kind of set the zeitgeist and standard for what major cinema is, and
of course
people around the world are very intrigued and interested in this movie, and I think it has a lot of themes that kind of connect around the world. And so it is continuing to do well. 500 million, $500 million for that film made on $750,000 is I mean, it's more than anybody who made that film, anybody who produced that film, anybody who bought that film thought it would do.
And it's made Indy Neverready a star.
Yeah, well, Focus. There's no way Focus, thought it would get anywhere close to this.
No,
obviously, and it's been fantastic to watch because it's great to see every single person from that film get elevated. Curry is getting several deals off of the film, and I'm sure Cooper will receive some of the benefit of that. I also hope Cooper does some of his own stuff too. But Indy gets the Rogue casting in the new X-Men reboot for Marvel Studios. Megan Lawless, is my understanding, is she's got stuff that they're ready to announce in the next,
Man, speaking of Megan Lawless, I made some people real mad on X by accident. Like I responded to a tweet about how this particular scooper wanted Jubilee to be in the new movie, and I was like, I put a picture of Megan Lawless and I said, let's cast her. And man,
Jubilee's very young.
Yeah, people
got onto you about.
Not only that, no, not necessarily the age thing, but the Jubilee is 100% Asian, not just half. There's a lot of that, and I'm like, okay, this is what happens on X. I get it. This is exactly what happens on X. These idiots. But anyways,
the vast majority of people who look at Megan Lawless would not know that she was half Asian. Anyway,
that's true. Yeah, that's what I get for actually responding to somebody on Twitter for anything. I did like that one idiot was like, she's not Chinese at all, or she's not Asian at all, and then I didn't respond. I let X take care of that, and somebody else responded, well, she is half, so put the guy in his place, because I mean, obviously he didn't do the research before he threw out that tweet. I get that she's half Asian, but she's an up-and-coming star. If you're going to age Jubilee up a little bit, cast her, and it would be brilliant casting to have both her and Indy in the same movie. But anyways,
Lana Condor was the previous casting. She's probably getting too old at this point. She's 29.
Yes. Yeah.
She's in that shark movie with Catherine Newton that just came on Amazon.
Right.
So I do feel a little bad for her, but
yeah, I forgot to tell you that I have made this like sort of kind of declaration that I'm done with streaming movies. Like I'm just not going to I'm not going to watch Kevin Hart. I'm not going to watch.
Yeah, I don't care about that trash. I look, no offense to Kevin Hart as a human being, but right. On that front, the stuff that the comedy guys are making on streaming is largely garbage. Mostly it's the stuff in the fall and the winter that I start paying attention to.
There's always exceptions, yes,
because then we start getting to awards contenders, and better films typically coming from streamers.
I agree, yeah, but it's the stuff in the middle of the year that John Cena releases or Kevin Hart releases, or unfortunately Catherine Newton now releases, that I'm just not gonna. I don't have the bandwidth or the time to spend trying to stay current on every single streaming movies. I hate the term slop, so I'm not going to use that because artists were involved. In creating these movies, and that's fine. It's not their fault that the distribution is through a streaming service.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to spend my time watching those movies anymore. It's just, I don't care about it. No, John Cena being somebody's brother. I don't care about that movie.
In other news, the Odyssey box office news, now the number one R-rated film of all time, passing Deadpool and Wolverine, which had about 1.3 billion. Odyssey now at 1.446 billion.
Crazy.
Crazy on a lot of different levels. First off, R-rated films are just tough to make a lot of money because there's usually a stigma there. Now, I will say this. I think this is, aside from the F-bombs, which I don't know how many there are, maybe about 5. The violence is not super R-rated. There's not a ton of blood splatter necessarily. And Nolan doesn't really do that. So, you know, you kind of know what you're getting. He's not Tarantino in that aspect. Domestic box office for it, though, also doing gangbusters still. 17% drop. 17% drop weekend over weekend, which tells you, I know part of that's the 70 millimeter being sold out into September is going to continue to give it great legs. It's the word of mouth, and it's the 70 millimeter screening still going. And there's some in the industry saying that, you know, when it gets around to Dune time, it could still be in those 70 millimeters right before Dune kicks it out. So
that's crazy. Yeah. Speaking of 70 millimeter, friend of the show, Dr. Earl, and his buddy Jimmy, my friend as well, they went and saw a 70 millimeter screening. Jimmy had not seen the movie yet. So there's still people out there that had not had a chance to go see the movie yet. Jimmy was in town. Earl took him. I didn't realize this, and this is my own lack of research. But talking to the manager at our local AMC, they actually do have a 70 millimeter projector at our AMC. And so I am now considering going to see this movie again on film. I had no idea. Of course,
that's 70 millimeter, which is still cool.
It's not IMAX 70 millimeter. But it's like, and so some details that I thought were interesting about what AMC does. And they pretty much said that for the most part in markets smaller, like in Birmingham, they don't, they hire a contractor to sit in every screening. And man the projector. So it's not like a full-time employee of AMC. It's just like a contract projectionist.
They're usually former employees that know how to be projectionists, that know how to thread film. You know, if there's an issue with the film, they know how to cut it and remove a frame or whatever.
It's pretty awesome. And I'm frustrated that I didn't know they've actually had the projector since Oppenheimer. So it made me even more frustrated because I was just like, I could have seen an Oppenheimer also in this format. And it's not on a big IMAX screen. It's on like, it's in one of their bigger theaters. It's got like a bigger normal screen, but it would still be cool to say that I saw it on film. So if I can find 3.5 hours, which is going to be tough now that football season has started, I'm going to try and go see it on film because he said that they've got screenings until at least mid-September. They're not planning on moving it out of that theater basically until at least mid-September. So might go see it again. I didn't think I was going to do that, but might go see it again now.
I am not, but I'm good with it at this point. I've seen it a couple of times.
Yeah, you saw it twice. See,
I have to make a trip to go see it in the big formats at this point, so I'm just not going to do that. Spidey, 2.2 billion now this weekend. Gosh. 854 million domestic.
Insane.
Which, just to give you the other number, and I have to type this in real quick because I want to make sure I'm not speaking out of turn here, but I believe Endgame made domestically. Okay, I was going to say the wrong number, so I'm glad I said it. I was going to say 848. It's 858. So very close to passing Endgame's domestic total.
Well,
obviously, you know, people will go, well, there's inflation, and sure there is.
I don't care about all that.
You know, look,
it's
a completely different time. At a time where people said this was not, you know, this is something that we're not going to get back to at a certain point, and I love that we are getting back to those times.
We're getting back to it. I thought that maybe it could catch Force Awakens domestic, but I don't think it can now.
I think it's going to hit Force Awakens. It's not going to hit $1 billion.
You think it'll get to? So it's only at 858. Force Awakens was 950. What was Force Awakens?
But the drops are getting a little bit smaller weekend to
weekend.
That's what 5% drop.
39
million.
Okay, maybe it'll get there. I don't know. I mean, there's still look, this coming week, and we'll talk about it later. There's still not much competition this coming weekend. So, I mean, really, the first competition isn't until sometime in September. So we'll see. I mean,
and I'll give you that number real quick just so we have it.
Oh, the Force Awakens
936. And then
okay.
You're talking about 854 right now. So you're talking about a difference of 82 million. Okay. I think it can get there.
I think you're right.
The weekends are not going to get it there immediately, but the weekdays plus the weekends, it'll be
as long as they leave it. If they just leave, obviously, I'm guessing that Marvel would like Sony to take it out of theaters when Endgame re-releases.
I don't think that they want them to take it out at that point.
Maybe not. They don't care.
They'll do double features sometimes with the different.
That'd be awesome.
Films that they release, but
the 3-hour and 5-minute Endgame encore.
Yeah. Now, Joe Russo said there's 7 minutes of added footage. The runtime has gone up 4 minutes technically.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that means they removed 3 minutes of footage too. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I thought that was weird too. I was like, what?
May just be wrong. Sometimes runtimes are like around the correct time, but they're not. Like there'll be a minute or two off or 3 minutes off.
That's true.
And it's not a big deal because programming for 3 minutes off is not a big thing.
Yeah, that's true. Well, let's dive into.
I do want to rant about something, and we did not talk about this pre-show.
Please rant away.
I hate that Dune and Doomsday are releasing on the same day, and let me tell you how it affected me this week.
Oh, okay, this is good.
Dune and Doomsday put up tickets this week, and because we only have one PLF here, so one premium large format screen, they have to share the screen because that's what the company is choosing to do.
Okay.
And now on Thursday night, the night that we always go, me and my friends always go to see the new Marvel films together.
Yeah.
Which I enjoy doing. Even if the film's not great, I enjoy spending time with my friends and going out with them.
That's the way it works.
The only nighttime showing for Doomsday that night is 9:45 on a Thursday night.
Ooh.
We're all adults working jobs.
Yeah.
We have to get up for early in the morning. Nobody's going to do it at 9:45. So we are going to see it in non-Infinity Vision on Thursday night. And then our plan is to get back together that weekend.
So,
some of us at least, and see it in the PLF that weekend. But
I see what you're saying. So you didn't try. Well, it wouldn't matter if you went to a Monday or Tuesday screening of Dune because this theater chose to share the
Dune's
PLF.
Playing at 6, so we can't do anything about that.
Yeah, luckily in our market they're having those Tuesday screenings.
Sorry, that's when I'm going to see Dune.
Okay, you're going also. Okay, yeah.
But that doesn't matter for Thursday night.
Correct. It doesn't matter for Thursday.
It's what they've scheduled, and so it just stinks. It's one of those things where I wish that one of them had separated at least by that week that is available in front of both of them.
Yeah,
but
I don't look the way things are tracking. Both films could make 200 million opening weekend, so I don't think anybody really cared. They all wanted this.
I don't want. I love Dune. I love Denis. He's my second favorite director working today. Dune is not going to make 200 million opening weekend domestically.
Don't you dare doubt it. Don't you doubt it.
It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. That is not happening. Here's what's happening. IMAX 70mm tickets are going really fast.
Yeah.
But you're not seeing as much of that in the smaller theaters.
Yeah, the smaller markets, or the smaller
whereas
theaters,
Doomsday is selling a bit more across the board. So
yeah. It'll be interesting to see what ends up happening in the end with all of that. I'm hoping that we don't get a repeat of that, and it won't be necessarily the same. But next year, you've got The Hunt for Gollum and Secret Wars currently the same day.
Not just those two the same day, but also, and this is different. This one can stay, but The Housemaid 2 also comes out that same day. Yeah. But that's a completely different target audience, and I think that is fine counter programming.
Yeah, that's fine. I think Hunt for Gollum needs to move, though.
Hunt for Gollum is an expensive blockbuster trying to target the same nerd group, essentially. Mm-hmm. And Housemaid is much more for women who read books that are usually probably a little older, and it's much cheaper film. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
So
we'll see what happens. I mean, this would be the second time Warner Brothers is choosing to stake their claim the same night as an MCU movie. And I'm just like frustrated by that. I'm hoping that maybe we'll at some point have a new regime because of the merger or lack thereof. I don't know what will end up happening with the merger, but if the merger does happen, I would venture to say that David Ellison would not want to release the same day as Secret Wars.
No.
Whereas Zaslav, he thinks there's some strategy to it.
I don't know that Zaslav is going to stick with that date, even if he were to still be the head of the company or whatever. The thing is, and not to get in this too much, but we've talked about this plenty off air and plenty on air, but I really do think that Zaslav was okay with continuing to run WB. He was going to spin off the cable networks and let them die and wither off.
I think so too.
And I think he did want to run that studio, but then when they told everybody they were spinning off the cable networks and splitting the company up, then obviously buyers came in Netflix and Paramount, and now we're in the probably not great for the future of jobs in the industry situation.
It's a hot mess all around in all areas.
Yep.
But anyways.
And now Rob Vonta, the whoever he is for California, the
AG,
going to war with Ellison. So
yeah, and it's always so exciting when that type of thing happens because it accomplishes nothing.
Yeah,
I mean it's just silliness. But anyways,
it's a bad thing when everybody else has approved it, and then you're going to war. And look, California's important to Hollywood, but
yeah, totally.
I believe Ellison that when he says he's going to move. If this continues.
Oh, no, I don't doubt it. Yeah, no, I don't doubt his he'll probably go to Nashville or something. I don't know exactly where, but Nashville's got the ability to
There's a lot of sound stages in Atlanta that are not fully filled right now, too.
That's true. Atlanta would be another good option, probably. Well, let us jump into our off-the-shelf. As I did the last time that it was my choice, I'm going to be reading from the Leonard Maltin's 2013 movie guide.
Okay.
Just his little blurb that he puts in on The Four Feathers from 1939. Runtime of 115 minutes. He gave it 4 stars. I was kind of surprised by that. But
is that 4 out of 4 or 4 out of 5?
4 out of 5. Oh, you know what? Ooh, I think it is 4 out of 4. I think his is a 4-star ranking system. I don't it's been so long since I've looked in here, I'm not 100% sure, but yeah, anyways. Directed by Zoltan Korda, starring John Clements, Ralph Richardson, C. Aubrey Smith, June DePries, Alan J.S., Jack Allen, Donald Gray, and Clive Baxter. Grand adventure from A.E.W. Mason's story of tradition-bound Britisher who must prove he's not a coward by helping army comrades quell Sudan uprising. Smith is just wonderful as a tail-spinning army veteran. Screenplay by R.C. Sheriff, Lajos Bureau, and Arthur Wimpiris. I love these names. Score by Mikolos Urosa. The original release, and I had no idea that it ran 130 minutes originally.
Mm-hmm.
That was a little fact that I wasn't unaware of. And of course, as we discussed last week, previously filmed in 1921 and 1929. This one I didn't know about. Remade as Storm Over the Nile in 1955. I didn't know about that one. I knew about the TV movie with Beau Bridges in the Habersham part. If you can picture that, an American as the Habersham part. And that was from 1978. And then we also, of course, mentioned the 2002 Heath Ledger version, which I can't remember if I have seen that movie.
Wow, here's something fascinating.
Okay.
The Storm Over the Nile was the 55 movie, was co-directed by Zoltan Korda, the guy who directed this.
Oh.
And Terrence Young, a British director who worked on a lot of Bond movies.
Bond movies, yeah, exactly. Interesting. Yeah, for some reason I didn't know about the 1955 one. As I mentioned last week, there was a short documentary on the Criterion disc called A Day at Denham. So I didn't really know much about what that was. I thought it was just the little log line on the Criterion disc said that it was like a behind-the-scenes featurette of the movie. I wouldn't call it that. What it was, so Denham is a city in England, and they built like a massive studio there in this little city. And so they would bus people, by train people. Some of the more wealthy employees had cars. Like all these people would come from out of town to work on this studio lot that they built out there. And it was more of like a behind the scenes of the workings of a studio.
Mm-hmm.
And then because they just happened to be filming this short documentary at the time of the Four Feathers being filmed, there was a couple of very short moments where we saw some of the scenes being filmed from the movie. So it wasn't really for the movie itself. I think they included it on the disc because it just happenstance. They did this little short documentary and they had Four Feathers filming there. It was still cool though. It was really neat seeing like the different ways that a studio worked. I mean, it was only like 20 minutes long or something like that. It wasn't a very long documentary, but they showed like the editors. They had like a huge team of editors working on the film, going through the big machine, actually having to cut with a small knife, like when they wanted to cut the film and stuff like that. So there was some cool stuff in that little documentary, but I mean, it wasn't a full like behind the scenes thing. As far as the movie itself is concerned, it for me was a typical 1939 British, like very British film that for the most part, like the characters were kind of boring. I think Habersham obviously was the most compelling character because he goes through the most as far as his character arc is concerned. He starts as this British officer marrying a beautiful woman. We find out that there was this other man that she was also in love with, or maybe was, dating or something, that also was a fellow soldier, and she chose this other guy. Well, the other guy, Habersham, ends up not being necessarily a deserter per se, but he chose not to go on the next, tour, and just resigned his office. And so the whole Four Feathers thing was his compatriots, his fellow soldiers, sent him feathers from the main line in Sudan, basically. And he felt guilt about it. He was like, really, like, I'm really bummed that I, am leaving my fellow soldiers to do battle, and I stayed behind because of a beautiful woman. I don't necessarily disagree with his decision. I would have stayed. She was pretty hot, so I would have stayed behind also. But no.
Well, and you understand where he's coming from. Of like, why do I care to go back to
sure
and take over this land?
Exactly, because this was like the third try.
Sacrifice a bunch of people.
Yeah, exactly.
For, land that people are going to continue to war over us for.
For some reason, England had it really hard for the Sudan. Like they really wanted that territory because they failed. It was almost like a going into an area and fighting a battle with enemies that you didn't quite understand their tactics. And so they were easily overwhelmed in a couple of different ways that they show in the battle. You had like the native people who the Sudanese used as almost like just a cluster bomb in a way, because these guys were like throwing spears and like setting fires. And so I thought the battle scenes were really good. I couldn't really quite connect with the story overall for me. Like it didn't quite, I won't say that I was bored, but it wasn't as compelling as I thought it was going to be based upon the word of mouth that everybody's saying this is the definitive version of the Four Feathers. And so I was expecting a bit more from it. But, in researching, it really didn't win any awards or anything. The guy that played Habersham, he was really like, for lack of a better way of putting it, he was to me like Alec Guinness coded. Like I felt like Alec Guinness could be playing that character. I mean, he like almost had the same facial structure as Alec Guinness when he was that young, but it was interesting for me, at least. I was just like, I like this guy, and he didn't really end up being much of a big star. I mean, this was kind of this guy's biggest role, and I thought that was interesting as well, because I would have thought that maybe he would have propelled his career, because he certainly was the most compelling. He got the most to do. He ended up becoming one of this specific tribe of that area who is mute. And so that's how he went in disguise to try and get his friends out of there or whatever.
Well, they're mute because they've had their tongues cut out.
They've had their tongues cut out. Yeah.
They have a brand on their forehead.
Yeah, the brand. Yep.
And they've had their tongues cut out. So he was faking being one of those guys who had been basically put into slavery, essentially.
Yeah.
Locally.
And it was smart because people would look over him. Like they wouldn't take they wouldn't pay any attention to him at all because he was, dressed. He pigmented his skin apparently a little, or dyed his skin so he could look a little darker. Got that brand on his forehead, and then was, pretending to kind of be like a dumb mute in a way. And so people would look over him so he could infiltrate the areas that he needed to infiltrate. What did you think of? I saw that you gave it 3.5. I only gave it 3.
I've never heard of this film.
Yeah.
When you brought it up, I looked it up and kind of thought it looked maybe kind of boring. I thought the story was really interesting, and it's very different culturally, and very different time period wise than obviously us today.
Yeah.
Made in 1939. The book's from 1902.
Yeah.
And it takes place around that time too. It takes place like 1900, 1901 or whatever. And it's really interesting because it's very much about generational divides. The movie starts out with the old men talking about their glory days in the war, going over to the Sudan, and how the new generation's weak and they won't be able to, they don't want to go over and wage war in the Sudan, and the Haversham worrying that his son will be a coward and not want to go over there and live the glory of that he lived over there. And it was all very interesting, but it was also very, very British. Because they're talking about going over to these places and taking over, and it's real British history. Obviously, this is not a real. I don't think these are real British people, but there's real British history being taken and applied into a fictional story. I really enjoyed the story itself. I thought it was really. I thought the story of the man who feels like, even though he doesn't really agree with this war, that he feels like he's deserted his friends and he needs to make amends, going into this hell basically to rescue his friends, and kind of show them that he's not a coward at all. I thought was really, really interesting. And I love the choice of the first friend that he saves, who has been blind by a sunstroke.
That's right.
And he never once speaks to his friend.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah.
He acts like he's this Arab who has his tongue cut out and is a branded slave, and just spends the entire time dragging him around, trying to find water sources, trying to get him back to civilization, back to the British army over there. And when he finally does, he leaves his first of his 4 feathers behind on the body, and something that he doesn't realize until much, much later, which becomes an interesting point at a party at one point when John goes home and he pulls out, I can't even remember, the letter he had in his pocket.
And the letter.
And the doctor who's there and his wife or girlfriend or whatever she's supposed to be to John at that point, notice the feather attached to the card, meaning that Haversham is still alive.
Yeah, because she didn't. That was the whole thing. I think at that point in the movie, and this is like towards the end of the film, I think she's considering like maybe marrying John.
Yes, that's what it was.
She thinks Haversham's dead. This is the guy that she kind of left Haversham for in the beginning of the film, anyways. So because of the time, she felt like she wanted to marry him. She didn't want to be alone, and when she finds out that John's still alive or Haversham's still alive, I mean, they go for it. I mean, that she's like, I can't leave him.
There's some really interesting battle scene stuff where you're thinking like at the time, I'm sure this was kind of really, really cool to see.
It was probably really cool.
So many extras. Good grief.
Oh yeah, so many extras, and I'm like, people had to have actually died on this set because some of that stuff just looked insane. It reminded me of that first scene in Babylon where we see the director like trying to shoot a massive scene with a bunch of horses and stuff. And like, how did these people actually live through some of this stuff? Like, you can only have so many stuntmen that know what they're doing. There's got to be some of those extras or whomever that had no idea what they were doing. And it just looked really violent and overwhelming as far as all the different things that they were doing in this. Nowadays, all those people would be CG people, but it wouldn't have the big battle scenes like that.
This is a color film, 1939. It's not the first. It's not near the first. The first was a few years before.
Yeah.
But the thing that kind of stood out to me when I was watching it on the stream was this red shift you see, very present at time. I don't know if you noticed the red kind of color that was kind of bleeding into the picture a little bit at times.
Okay. Yeah.
That is something that would happen to older Technicolor specific prints. Over time. It's just how some of them age, is my understanding.
The film degrading, basically.
Basically, yeah. And so so there's some Kodak film that'll do that too, but it's a completely different red shift. So it's not the same thing, but I'm sure they're
as
both
dramatic
chemical reactions.
Yeah.
This is the 3-strip chemical Technicolor process that they would do the red. I assume it was the primary colors. And when they would get through it, obviously it looked great at the time, and Technicolor still looks fantastic when you get it right and it's been maintained well. But in this case, it seemed like the prints that they had were a little bit affected by that red shift, because there were some times where I really saw some red bleeding into the frame. This is just some nerdy technical stuff.
No, you're right, noticed. Though. Yeah.
And because I noticed this only because, not to tie this too hard into something else, but Song of the South, there is a bootleg out there that someone got a Technicolor print and scanned it, and it's very red. And the reason it's very red is I learned about that process at the time and kind of the breakdown of those prints and why it's got that red shift. And I immediately saw it here and I looked it up. Was this filmed with Technicolor? Yes, it was.
Okay.
So made total sense.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, to be able to, I can't, I'll be honest, I can't say that I noticed it, but I wasn't also looking for it. And so I didn't necessarily notice it. The DVD, I mean, obviously it was DVD quality. You know, I'm using a player that would upscale it as much as it possibly can. But I mean, you can certainly tell the quality of a DVD versus I know that Criterion has a Blu-ray as well of this, which I'm sure is a ton better. Which if I had ended up loving the film, I would have maybe tried to upgrade, but I didn't love it enough where I'm going to search out for that Blu-ray or whatever and upgrade.
In watching this film, it's funny that, I mean, this is considered like the definitive version of this film, because I thought when watching it, like, you could do this in a modern take. It doesn't have to even be set during this Sudanese period of British.
Set it during the Iraq War. I mean,
you could do it all over the place. It could be any war. And this could be the story of the guy going in to both rescue his friends, prove he's not really a coward, but that he just did not want to really participate in all this. I think, can carry over from generation to generation. Pretty easily. But it's also a very, very British story at its basis.
It is. It's supposed. I mean,
that's why I think we haven't seen a lot with it.
Yeah, I think. I think 02 is probably going to be the last one. I mean, you've got the Heath Ledger version. So
02 was done by it was American studio, but it was done by an Indian director.
Yes, that's right.
Who was very involved in India. It was Britain. So it does not surprise me that an Indian director was very interested in doing that story.
The evil British imperialists trying to take over all these random places around the world. Yeah, I'm glad I watched it. I mean, it's one of those things that, off the shelf, and I happened to this was specifically, this title was Ashley's, my wife. I don't think I've ever said her name on here, but my wife Ashley, her grandfather had a small Blu-ray and DVD collection, and he loved this movie. It was like one of his favorite movies of all time for whatever reason. And so, because it was literally the only Criterion that he had, and so he gave that collection to me before.
That's funny. I think previous to me gifting him some, my dad's only Criterion was Spinal. This is Spinal Tap, so a very different end of the spectrum.
That one's
also British.
Isn't that
kind of?
Was it the DVD or the Blu-ray?
The DVD.
Wasn't it out of print? Isn't it out, it's hard to get?
It was. Now I think it's useless.
Oh yeah, they did a new one.
They put out the 4K, and the thing that people wanted at the time, I think, I'm trying to remember right, but the MGM one I think has them doing commentary in character, and the Criterion had them doing it out of character.
Interesting.
So it was one of the those both exist.
Cool.
I just can't remember which is on which.
Man, that makes me want to, because I've got do I have this as Spinal Tap? I think I do. I can't remember if I've got it. If I have it, I don't think I have the Criterion, so I'll need to look and see if I've got the MGM one that has. That's cool. That's why I love like Blu-ray and DVD extras, because you just never know what you're going to get. And that's why, like, when I recently upgraded to the 4K of Willow, I ended up having to keep that DVD because there's a really good commentary with Ron Howard and Warwick Davis.
That stuff should port over.
I don't understand why they don't. Like, it can't be difficult to.
Not if the rights holder's making them all the way through. Yeah, I mean, with Criterion, it can be difficult because sometimes other people will make the commentary tracks, and you've got to license out stuff. But
I'm like, Disney, what are you doing? You own this thing. Like, why aren't you just porting over the commentary?
Well, the problem is that physical media just they don't pour and invest into it anymore. That's why boutiques are the way to go, are probably the way of the future for a lot of great releases for physical media, because they're going to take the time to put together this stuff and try to get what they can. Some companies may not let them take some extras or, whatever, or may make them try to pay a leg and a foot for it. But
I wonder, though, if the studios are starting to recognize this thing, because there was all those discs that just got announced that Disney's doing. So it's interesting because they're doing National
Sony
Treasure
controls
and
the Disney distribution. So it's whatever to me, and I'm sure they have some sort of revenue split there, but to me, it's probably what they have to both decide on ultimately.
Yeah, exactly. Stuff that they know that will have enough interest where they can make a little bit of money on it, because people are going to buy stuff like National Treasure. People are going to buy, like, I think I saw Mrs. Doubtfire was on. I mean, people are going to buy those. I mean, those are big enough titles that you're going to have enough interest to make a little money. They're not going to go like so far back in the archives and re-release stuff, even though, I would love to see some of those old Wonderful World of Disney movies like upgraded to 4K would be awesome, but they're not going to spend the money to do that. But
no.
Anyways, what is this title that you're going to have? Is it a Criterion?
It is a Criterion.
Oh, okay.
I'm sticking with Criterion. This is Spine number 1243. It is streaming on Paramount Plus Premium and Paramount Plus Essential. This is No Country for Old Men from 2007, directed by the Coen brothers.
Nice. I cannot wait to rewatch that.
An adaptation of the Cormac McCarthy novel. So I guess we're just doing like a streak of adaptations here.
Well, this is true. Yeah.
But that's where a lot of movies come from. A lot of the greats. So I'm excited because I've never seen it before. And I'm just excited to get to dive into a movie that a lot of people seem to love, and
it's quite a good movie. Yeah, it is. It's good. I own it on 4K also, from Criterion. So I think I've got the Criterion of it. Well, I know I have the Criterion, but I don't know if I have the Blu-ray or the 4K. I can't remember which one I bought, but I will be watching it on that format instead of. You said it's available on Paramount.
Yep. It is, and I have not seen either this or There Will Be Blood. Now, those are both the two big movies from that year. Obviously, I was a lot younger at the time when those came out. I was 10 years old when they released, so
well, sure,
I didn't really have the opportunity to watch them, and it's been a long time since then. So I picked up this disc probably about a year ago now, and I just need to get around to watching it. So
awesome. So I made you watch a Jason Statham movie for our focus. I know you're not like me. You don't go to see every Jason Statham movie. And so I'm very, I'll give just like a quick look. It's not great. I get it, but I loved it. It's like, what I thought was interesting, and props at least to Statham for trying to kind of like actually give us a story, like a cohesive story and a reason for things happening. But I'm of the opinion that I just want more action, less talky, like more like I don't less Jason Statham talking, less giving us exposition, because I in the end with this type of movie, I don't necessarily need a really good story. I just need really good action.
Yeah, well, I think if you're gonna, keep going. I'll get to.
Well, my whole thing is, once we finally get to the boat, and it takes too long to get to the boat, but once we finally get on the boat, And there was one cool action scene before that, but once we finally get to the boat and all the real action starts happening, I thought it was really awesome. Now, I also am more of the one-man show Jason Statham fan. I don't like when he tries to pair up with somebody and team action the thing, male or female. I don't need another person with Jason. I need him to be like the solo killer, taking out all the bad guys. I don't care about anybody else's story. I think that was a storyline with having the third captain or whatever she called herself. I didn't care about her at all. I was like, I don't care what happens to her. Yes, you're trying to pull on the heartstrings that she's got a daughter and she's a single mom. And
she's got a picture of her daughter, Mikey. You don't care about that?
I got daughters. I don't need to see them in an action. I don't need to care about anything in an action movie. I just wanted Statham solo by himself, being the guy to take out everybody. But so this was lower on the totem pole for me as far as Statham movies, but it also gave some really cool kills and that's all you can ask for, is just a couple of different type of kills that we've never seen Statham do. And so it accomplished the goals as far as that's concerned, but way too much like trying to get us to care about everything that was happening. So anyways, what did you think?
So I walked in to this showing at 9:45 last night, and I was happy to do so. Yeah. Late show. I will say towards the end of it, I was starting to nod off.
Yes.
And like I felt bad because I don't like doing that to a film. But the good news is there was enough to kind of grab me and I kind of shake myself. And the real problem was I'd like lean and then I keep leaning and then I keep leaning and then I'd be like, okay, I need to sit up.
Yeah. No, you're right. You're right.
No, when the movie started, well, first off, when it started, the projector didn't kick on. I run out to the manager and I'm like, hey, please take a look. I know because at our theater, they have a pre-show projector. And then after the pre-show ends, it actually kicks onto the real projector.
Oh, interesting. I think that's how ours does too.
And I think it's how most theaters work. But I've never worked at one. But I just know that that's how it's supposed to work.
Yeah,
here.
I think so. Yeah.
And so sometimes you have to run out and say, hey, the show projector, the main show projector didn't kick on. The main projector didn't kick on. And I ran out, and I usually try to wait a couple minutes, but the audience was getting a little restless in mine. So I said, hey, guys, I'm going to go out and tell somebody. It had been like a minute and a half. I usually give it about 3. And because in past experiences, I've had it take at least 3 minutes before. I run out. Thankfully, a manager's walking right by. I say, hey, can you please check this out? And then I go back in the theater. And then as I walk back in the theater, it started again. So I ran back out the theater and said, hey, wait, don't go up there. It's okay. Thankfully I caught him before he had gone up there. So,
well, that was nice of you to even bother. I would have let him make the long walk because I'm like, dude, if your movie's not started,
I don't want to be remembered to be that guy who cries wolf and, so anyway, the trailers kick on, movie starts almost close to 10. About 10 minutes of trailers, and I was impressed that the movie started and they wanted to have a real story. That's seriously, I was like, oh,
no, that's good. I'm glad. Yeah,
there's we're really trying to set something up here, tell an intriguing story about people that are potentially behind this assassination.
Or the assassination.
It gets real to be trafficking like halfway through the film.
Right.
But they're trying to take this guy out who runs his company. He's trying to sell it. Blah blah blah. I didn't dislike that part. I had some issues with some lines early on, like the best chess players are in prison or behind bars. I'm like, okay, buddy. I don't think the best chess players are behind bars.
No, they're not. They're not. Yeah, exactly.
That stupid action movie dialogue.
Script, exactly. The script of Jason Statham movies is generally the worst part of all of them. The less he talks, the better.
Yeah, that's kind of like Keanu to me with the John Wick movies. The less he talks in those films, I think it's better.
Yeah, I think so.
Because he's so good at the action. Once you just start inserting all these other elements and these other actors, it starts to get bogged down a little bit. And
the cast was too big in this, in all honesty.
Yeah, it needed to be a little bit smaller scale in terms of the amount of players that really matter. You can have a bunch of goons get taken out on the ship, 21 one, however many there were.
Yeah.
But there's this whole thing set up with Statham's father had been killed after Statham got trapped somewhere, and then they were like starting to try to tie that into the main story.
Yeah.
And then they never really did.
Yep.
So I didn't really know why that was introduced, other than at the end, he says a line to somebody specifically where it does kind of tie into that story, but they kind of made it seem like we're going to find out the people behind the people that killed his father.
Like the next level up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
exactly.
It seems like they're still kind of leaving it up open to do that at the end, by the way, not to spoil anything, but
right.
Statham's character obviously doesn't die. I mean,
of course,
it's a Statham action movie.
Statham die.
But I wound up giving this 5 out of 10 with a heart, because I did enjoy a fair amount of this movie. It probably helps that I've not seen a lot of Jason Statham movies, so some of this stuff is not old to me.
It does help for you.
So the action was fun. I liked the car scene where he's whipping around the car to take out people. I enjoyed him using all different kinds of instruments to take people down.
The big fish hook thing.
Yeah.
And there was some good stuff.
And but yeah, the female character, largely, I understand why you do it. You want to have you need it, because if she's not in the film, you have zero emotional connection to even Statham, really, other than him being Statham, because there's nothing set up for him besides his father's death. But at the same time, just kind of a nothing burger character.
Totally a nothing burger character. And the problem that Statham did this year, like usually his movies are January releases. Like he always has one film a year for the most part come out in January. I think that he did too much this year. See, because this is actually his second film this year. His January release was Shelter, where not only do you have the bad guy being somebody that you've seen before and recognize, that being Bill Nighy was the bad guy in that one, and so he's a recognizable actor. There was a kid involved too, and he was protecting a kid. So Shelter automatically, at least in my opinion, was a little bit better. Whereas this movie, the bad guy, you didn't recognize any of. Like, there's nobody else recognizable at all in this movie except for Statham. Like, the bad guy is not a guy that, I've seen him in that movie years ago. Like, that's what you always have to have. Like, the main foe, even if it had been like the boss that wasn't on the ship, you should have had the main foe be somebody that you recognize as an actor to have been in something that maybe you remember seeing years ago. They didn't even bother doing that this time. It was a largely, I'm guessing this was an internationally funded movie, because it was a largely international cast. There was maybe a couple of Americans that I didn't recognize any of them that were playing the Navy shipmen, but the rest of the cast, obviously including Statham himself, which he's a worldwide star. He's not, but he's a British guy. And then I guess the girl was an American, and I know her by name, but she's so forgettable as far as this particular role that I really can't remember. So Annabella Wallace is the actress's name. I know the name, but I really cannot recall. Yeah, that's right. She was the girl in Malignant. Okay. I kind of remember her from Malignant. I kind of remember her from Malignant. She was apparently also in X-Men First Class.
Okay.
I did not know that. She must have been
filmed partly in Brunswick, Georgia.
Filmed partly. Let's see how far it takes me to go down on IMDb's list to find what role Annabella Wallace played. I'm going really far down. She played the very important character Co-Ed. So anyways, so now, I mean, like I had maybe seen her obviously in a couple of things, but just her plot, their whole plot with her was unnecessary to me. I mean, it was just like, all you really had to do is put Statham on the ship. You have the evil captain, and Statham takes him out. You didn't need to have this other woman on there. There's just a waste of time.
They're just trying to give you a more human element to connect to, because Statham is not relatable technically.
Ever.
You have emotional connection, but he's not really relatable. So
it's still, he broke his own cardinal rule. He released a second movie in a calendar year. He should have just done the January release and just left it at that.
But this January, there's a giant tentpole opening, so maybe he wanted to avoid that.
That's true. I mean, he's
Blood
got
and Bone or whatever.
The guy, yeah, right. The guy never stops working.
It's an expensive tentpole opening in January.
Yeah, that is really an expensive one. I mean, next year he's got another year where he's testing fate. He's got 2 movies next year. Now, one of them is an automatic winner because it's Beekeeper 2. So people will automatically go see Beekeeper 2.
I am excited about that.
The other one I'm actually more excited about because it's called Jason Statham Stole My Bike.
That's true. I'm also excited about that one.
So he's got both of those. So 2027 is going to be a good year for Statham.
Beekeeper was awesome.
Yes, it was.
I will be there for the sequel. If it sucks, it sucks. But the first one gave me, it's got enough goodwill from the first one for me to go back. But that one also sounds cool too.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, the Jason Statham Stole My Bike. The Beekeeper 2 is interesting because I think it's a new director, a guy named Timu Tahahano, Tahjanto. The only reason I know that guy's name is because I think that he did he do a movie with Nick Cage, maybe? Maybe not. I thought he did a Nick Cage movie. But he's done some interesting stuff if you look at his IMDb profile. Anyways, that's Beekeeper 2. But it's interesting that he's the director because he mostly does horror films. He's not done too many action films, but I like Statham. I'll always go see his stuff when it's in theaters. Jason Statham Stole My Bike is going to be really good Statham because it'll have some comedy in it. Yeah. And that always means good things.
He's good in the he's good in the fast films when he gets to play around.
Yes, yeah,
some comedy as well. Yeah,
and he was good in, even though I'm definitely not a fan of the actress that was the star of Spy, but he was good in Spy as well, which was a total.
It's been a long time since I saw that, like a year or two after it released.
Yeah,
I remember enjoying him in it. Yeah.
He's got good comedic timing, even though it seems like he shouldn't have good comedic timing, but he does somehow have good comedic timing. Speaking of comedic timing, what is our focus next week?
Our focus next week is going to be Coyote versus Acme.
Yes.
The film that was initially a tax write-off for Warner Brothers, bought by Ketchup Entertainment, and has become their biggest wide release ever for Ketchup Entertainment. And they're actually, for once, going to put in, I mean, they took out a loan to basically do, real marketing for once for a film. So you got to hope this pays off for them. They paid, I think, $40 million just for the film itself. And then you're going to put around that to advertise usually. So I don't know what exactly they've done. We'll get Deadline Hollywood Reporter articles coming up next week that'll tell us like specifically what they have heard they spent on this stuff. But not that the money necessarily to you matters, but it does matter in terms of what gets made in the future. So
yeah, exactly right. I mean, it's a gamble for sure. I mean, because you're talking about a couple of different things here. You've got the Looney Tunes, which are, I wouldn't say they're culturally relevant anymore.
No,
they're just not in the zeitgeist. I would say that like the Muppets are probably still more culturally relevant than the Looney Tunes are.
Mm-hmm.
The Muppets,
they got to be careful with the Muppets though too.
Yeah, I mean, but you see them show up at like halftime shows and World Cup events, and I mean, so they're still out there. Whereas the Looney Tunes, you really don't see them much. As much as people say that they loved that fully animated movie that came out a couple of years ago with Porky Pig, The Day the Earth Blew Up, nobody went and saw it. Like it because
but they didn't advertise it.
I didn't advertise. That was another Ketchup Entertainment. It didn't get advertised. Now this,
and also I don't think it was like super duper well received, if I remember.
No, I mean it actually was like, I didn't personally like it, but apparently a lot of people did like that movie.
I know some other people besides you who also did not love it. So
I didn't think it was great.
I guess maybe my worldview is a little skewed there.
Yeah.
But.
So this is more of the Looney Tunes that we have seen in theaters really the past like 20 years, that being Space Jam 2 and Looney Tunes Back in Action. So there's human elements around them. They're like in the real world, and you've got the animated. So like think Roger Rabbit or whatever, like you've got animated characters with human beings. And I think that if you're going to do a Looney Tunes movie, that's the one you need to do, and you need to have a funny cast around them. And I think that they've got a pretty good cast around them. We'll see. I mean, it's just, there has not necessarily been. The problem is kids don't care about the Looney Tunes, and so you're not going to get a lot of kids going to this movie.
People I've heard talk about this movie are Gen X, and that is, by the way, the worst demographic in terms of showing up at theaters right now.
It is. I'm Gen X, and I agree.
Baby boomer, but yeah.
Baby boomer and Gen X.
They're close in percentage.
Yeah, they're close in percentage. So it's going to be a tough sell. I'll go see it, obviously, because it's our focus. Mm-hmm. The other major release this week is a new Ridley Scott film called The Dog Stars, which the trailers for that have done absolutely nothing for me. I like all the actors in the film.
It's a fantastic cast.
Really great cast, but I still don't quite know what it's about, other than it's a post-apocalyptic people trying to kill each other type of movie. I can't tell if they're zombies or if they're I don't know, diseased in some way, like the people that are running around frantically. It's hard to tell. I'm not familiar with the book. It's based on a book, and so
I don't really even understand what's happening in the film. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic, and obviously, Elordi's character is falling in love with what's her name,
Margaret Qualley.
Margaret Qualley's character, and they're in two different places in terms of where they live in this post-apocalyptic world. He can fly. With his plane, not fly, but he can fly with his plane. That's all I'm getting from this. I don't really.
And you've got Josh Brolin in military fatigues and black black chalk like military looking guy, and that's all you know about it. That's all. That's all you can really. So they have done a really what studio is releasing this? Is it 20th Century?
It's Scott Free, so I think it might be 20th.
Oh, gosh, they have done a horrible job at marketing the film, which is kind of surprising because they've got.
May tell you what they think about it.
Well, that's true. I mean, I was going to say they've got like probably one of the best marketing teams behind them in the studio system with Disney. Mm-hmm. I mean, so it's just really surprising that they've thrown it in this particular weekend and that they've not spent much money on the marketing. Maybe you're right. Maybe they know what they've got. And I think less people will go see this than Looney Tunes. Like I expect, it's live out. You're right. Maybe it'll probably do better. It'll probably do better. I don't know.
We'll see.
But also, you're still going to have a ton of people going to see the Odyssey and Spider-Man, and
Spider-Man could repeat 5 times probably this weekend. I just don't see. I don't see either one of these films doing crazy numbers this weekend. I'll just say that.
Yeah, no, I think that you're looking at like maybe out of the top 5 for Looney Tunes, maybe squeaks in at number 5 for the Dog Stars. Well, I don't know. I don't know what would be 3 then, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see what happens. You've still got a lot of indie films out there. Tony is one that I would recommend everybody go see. I mean, it's a good movie. If you're trying to decide what to see this weekend. I mean, I'm going to support the Coyote versus Acme just because I like the whole story behind it. Like it sort of sticks it to the man a little bit by supporting it because Warner Brothers kicked it to the curb like they did. So, it is what it is.
They essentially tried to seal it away. Not that I know that there are people who are like, the movie critiques corporations and blah, blah, blah. And that's why they wanted to hide it. I don't think they wouldn't let it get into the production process if that's what they wanted. Yeah. I think the reality is Zaslav was just like, well, look, what do we think is going to make money in theaters and what do we not? Ran some numbers and said, this is what we don't think is going to work. And was just pretty cutthroat about a lot of it. They canceled Scoob 2. That was supposed to be an HBO Max thing. Yeah. Thank goodness. I hated Scoob. Like that movie. It was rough. That movie can be locked away forever. I don't care if I'm anti-art for saying that.
Look,
Scoob was bad.
There was stuff in Scoob that I kind of liked. I liked like that superhero guy that showed up.
See, here's my problem. Scoob is a super movie. It is not a Scooby-Doo movie, but we don't need to go too far down that road.
We don't need to go. We don't need to go down that road. But, I mean, we'll see. We'll see if Ketchup continues to maintain its dominance in this Looney Tunes realm. Like, I don't even know what other films that studio has released, or if they can even really be called a studio. Like, I don't even know how they're still around, in all honesty.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. So,
where can people find you online, Mikey?
Well, I'm on X. Apparently, I should stop responding to any tweets on there at all, or people get mad at me for saying things. So I won't be participating on X much anymore, other than an occasional retweet and Star Wars stuff, because the Star Wars stuff is still pretty good on there. But also on Letterboxd, obviously, you'll find my very short takes on movies on Letterboxd. But really, I spend most of my social media time on our Discord, which I will let Garrison tell you more about.
You can find me at GRyfun3, GRYFUN3 on Twitter. You can find me on Letterboxd at GRyfun. You can find us at Cinema Debrief on Twitter and Instagram. You can email us at cinemadebrief@gmail.com to get access to our Discord or send us a letter. To get into the Discord, you can also just DM us. We just don't want to have a lot of bots in there. The Discord is a great community. We have lots of different people in there. It may be the ratio of men to women may have decreased recently. That's whatever. It is what it is.
It is what it is. Yeah. Exactly.
We can thank Rhett for probably some of that. But if you want to see the crazy things that Rhett says,
dang, throwing him under the bus.
No, if you want to see the crazy things that Rhett says, I think it's worth it to see it.
It is.
It's fantastic. And you can see the arguments we get into about every week. So help grow our community there to thrive and have some more fun. We will see you guys next week for No Country for Old Men and Coyote versus Acme.
And support your local flock cameras.